Hello, my sippers, and welcome to another episode of Daily Sip with Marcel. Today, I want you to look out your window. Look at the headlines on your phone. My friends, do you feel that strange, invisible pressure that seems to dictate what you care about, what we fear, how we argue? Listen, my friends, we often call it a vibe, yes, or a trend. But the philosophers had a much heavier name for it.
You're listening to Daily Sip with Marcel, giving you morning moments of insight, laughter, and a little something to stir the soul.
They called it the Zeitgeist. It's a word we throw around constantly, but the roots are far deeper and darker, my friends, than the pop culture that surrounds it. The term literally means time spirit, and it was introduced into German by Johann Gottfried Herder in 1769 as a translation to the Latin genus saeculi, the guardian spirit of the century. It wasn't just a poetic description. As we moved into the 19th century, particularly with the philosopher Hegel, the spirit became a massive driving force of history. Hegel taught us that philosophy is actually nothing more than its own time comprehended in thought, and that every individual is a child of their time, unable to leap over it any more than they can jump out of their own skin. So today, sit back, my friends, sip your coffee, and listen to the story of the word Zeitgeist, and be aware that this is the new philosophy of politics.
Okay, you've definitely heard this word before, Zeitgeist. It's one of those words we use all the time to talk about the vibe of a decade, right? But it's so much more than that. It's like this invisible force, this current of ideas and beliefs and moods that just defines an entire era. But have you ever stopped to think about where this huge idea actually came from? I mean, what does it really mean? Is it just a cool-sounding German word, or is there more to it? Well, the popular answer, the one you'll find almost everywhere, points to this guy, the German philosopher Johann Gottfried Herder. The story goes that he coined the term in an essay way back in 1769, and just like that, a powerful concept was born. But is that really the whole story? One guy, one essay, one big idea. As you've probably guessed by now, the real origin story is much, much older. And honestly, it's way more interesting. To really get to the bottom of it, we have to go back in time, way back, to a time before the German word Zeitgeist even existed, when thinkers were already trying to put their finger on this exact same idea. And here it is, the ancestor of Zeitgeist. Long before anyone was using the German term, European intellectuals had this Latin phrase, genius saeculi. It was literally the original spirit of the age, and they used it to try and explain that unique feeling that makes one historical period so different from another. This timeline really tells the true story. You can see that more than 150 years before Herder, you had brilliant minds like John Berkeley and Francis Bacon talking all about the genius saeculi. So Herder didn't just invent the concept out of nowhere. What he did was give it a new, punchy German name that really captured people's imagination. And it totally stuck, thanks in a big way to the writer Thomas Carlyle, who brought the word into the English language. So if Herder didn't invent the idea itself, what was his huge contribution? Why do we still connect his name so tightly to this word? Because what he did was revolutionary. He took this old idea and he weaponized it. He launched a full-on attack against one of the biggest ideas of the Enlightenment, this belief that there was only one right way for humanity to progress. This really gets to the heart of the debate at the time. On one side, you had philosophical giants like Immanuel Kant. He was a universalist. He believed all societies were on a single path towards one perfect, rational civilization. But Herder, he completely rejected that. He was a champion of what we now call cultural relativism. He argued that every nation, every Volk as he called it, has its own unique spirit, its own Volksgeist, and you have to understand it on its own terms. For Herder, history wasn't some kind of ladder that some cultures were climbing faster than others. No, it was more like a giant, beautiful garden filled with all sorts of different flowers, and each one was valuable and beautiful in its own unique way. He basically gave dignity to diversity. So, Herder planted that seed, this idea of a unique cultural spirit. And next up, another major German philosopher, Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel, comes along and helps that seed grow into this massive theory of history itself. Okay, so just to recap, Herder's big idea was that every different group of people has its own special cultural spirit. It's Volksgeist. Hegel saw that and basically said, hold my beer. He took this idea and just scaled it up, way, way up. He suggested that all these individual spirits of the age, all these different zeitgeists throughout history, weren't just random. Nope. He believed they were all just different chapters in the story of one single, massive world spirit, the Weltgeist, that was slowly but surely revealing its master plan through the course of human history. Now, this supercharged version of Zeitgeist, tied to both unique cultures and this grand purpose for all of history, was just way too powerful to stay locked up in German philosophy. It was about to go global. And the journey this idea took is pretty incredible. It starts in Germany, right? Then the word itself hops over to Britain, mainly thanks to Thomas Carlyle. But, and this is the really important part, the core idea, Herder's belief in the unique value of every culture, it travels all the way to America with a guy named Franz Boas, and it becomes one of the founding ideas of modern anthropology. Okay, so why are we digging up this 200-year-old story? Why does it matter who said what or when they said it? It matters because understanding the story of Zeitgeist isn't just a cool history lesson. It's about getting a handle on a powerful tool, a concept that completely changed how we see ourselves and our place in the world. Thanks to Herder's big idea, we stopped seeing history as just one straight line of progress. This concept gave us a new way to see the world, like a beautiful mosaic of different, equally important cultures. And it gave us the language to step back and actually analyze the invisible currents that are shaping our own lives right here, right now. Which, of course, leaves us with one last, really big question. If the spirit of an age is defined by its most powerful ideas and feelings, what truly defines the spirit of our age? Is it technology? Is it anxiety? Is it a new kind of global connection? That's the question the idea of Zeitgeist forces us to ask ourselves.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I did. And that's it for today's Daily Sip. Thanks for spending part of your day with me. If today's sip gave you something to think about, smile about, or share, pass it on. Be sure to follow the show so we can keep sipping together. Until next time, I'm Marcel. Stay grounded, stay grateful, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for letting me be part of your day. And until next time, keep noticing what makes life taste a little better. And if you're loving this, don't just sip in silence. Follow us, hit the subscribe button, and pour this into someone else's cup. Share it, spread it. Let's wake the world up together, one daily sip at a time.